But it seemed like Tupac, in a way, was sort of drawn to violence and violent people.
I believe, but when you, for the people that know Pac, he wasn't a type of person that he wasn't looking for violence. He wasn't an individual who, you know, a lot of things came back to him.
But I feel like he liked having people who are violent sort of around him. I don't think you could fully deny that.
Pac loved people, of course, that soldiers, you understand? He loved people that would get down. He loved these type of people, but he was very careful, you know what I mean? Pac was very careful of who he let around him as also, you know what I mean? But when you know Pac, see, most people think from the outside looking in that Pac was an individual that was, he just looked for trouble. It seemed like, you know how they say trouble follow you. It just seemed like he put himself in, and as a rap artist and actually as an African American who went from the hood or made it, we always being tested, especially when you have lyrics and you talking things on lyrics. We come from a society and an environment that if they run into you, they're gonna test you off your lyrics, you understand? And I noticed that in the music industry, you will be tested from what you say. You're gonna have to vouch for that one day, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
When Tupac, because you knew Tupac before he joined Death Row, right?
Yes, yes.
When he came out and joined Death Row,
yes.
What did you see change?
I seen things, for example, Pac, he became a little more violent in music, you know what I mean? And he explained that many times. He said, you know, now that I got these people trying to kill me, you know, a lot of people don't know Pac used to get death threats, you know, people always trying to test him. He felt like, you know, his music got adapted to what he adapted his music to what he was going through in life.
What do you mean by death threats?
Like people was always threatening him, you know what I mean? You got homies that's threatening to kill him. You got rumors that when we see this individual, we're gonna do this to him. You know, words was getting around, you understand?
Who are some of the people who are saying these types of things?
We don't
just
know.
Random people
Just
or
random
people
people.
you actually knew?
No, it wasn't people we know, but we know like the people from New York City who tried to kill him the first time, word was on the street that they not finished. You understand? I was there with Pac when he was laying on and the couch shot up when Stretch came to him. You know, Stretch used to be with him, and Stretch came to him like, this is a message from Jimmy Henchman. I remember, you know what I mean? Like this is a
Okay, so Stretch, who was super close to Tupac at one point.
Yes.
Mod Squad, is that
I believe that's it.
He was in the group. Okay, and Stretch also was cool with Biggie. Because wasn't he?
I believe they was definitely friends.
Stretch was on that one song, was on Dolly My Baby.
Yeah, and also on Pain.
Pain.
You know, yeah, he was also on Pain. And he was on a few songs, like he was Pac's right-hand man. You know, when we met him, when I used to go to from Jersey to New York, he always was with Stretch. You understand? So when Pac got shot in that elevator, he was staying at this actress house. You understand? And he was hiding out. He didn't feel like staying in the hospital. He pretty much was staying in the house, and he was, you know, he was messed up from being shot. And I remember one time Stretch came there, and Stretch said, you know, I spoke to Jimmy Henchman. And Jimmy Henchman said, Pac, you don't got enough money, you don't want to go to war with him. And he was like, Jimmy Henchman said, you know, get your money right, then go to war. And, you know, for me, I'm only like 14, 15 years old, but I'm looking at the situation like that's kind of odd right there. You supposed to be Pac homie, but you bringing him a message from his enemies. You know, the way, and even from growing up in New Jersey, the way I am on my block, if you come with the message from the enemy, we automatically take you as an enemy. You understand? So I was like, you know, what a Pac gonna do? And Pac, he just said, okay. He didn't really say much. He said, okay. You know what I mean?
Stretch ended up getting killed.
Yeah, Stretch got killed a few years later, for sure. You know, I don't think it's from I guess it was another beef that he might have went through when Pac stopped dealing with him. He went back to New York City.
Okay.
Yeah.
So after Stretch gave Tupac the message about Jimmy Henchman,
yes,
who's in prison right now.
Yeah, and I spoke to him, by the way.
You spoke to Jimmy,
messages.
You spoke to Jimmy Henchman.
Do messages. We was in touch with each other.
Okay, this is different. So
yeah,
you spoke to Jimmy Henchman in prison.
I spoke to Jimmy Henchman in prison while I was living in Saudi Arabia. This was a couple years ago.
Okay.
When he first got locked up, a mutual friend of ours who used to be like an assistant to him. She's like the cousin of Noble's Noble wife. You understand? Sabrina. She sent me a message one day on Twitter, and she was like, "Jimmy Henchman want to holler at you because he Muslim." And I ran into him, and I ran into him in Los Angeles one day years ago in a mosque, and we spoke for the first time in the mosque, breaking fast.
Okay, this is interesting. So, years ago, you're in a mosque.
Yes.
In walks Jimmy Henchman.
He and walks myself. You know, I seen him sitting down with, I forget the name of his, he had a bunch of jackets with his name of his
Henchman Entertainment?
Yeah, Henchman Entertainment or Caesar Entertainment or something like that.
Okay.
And I knew who he was. I seen pictures of him before, so I went up to him.
Okay.
You understand? This was about 8-9 years ago. 9 years ago in Los Angeles, King Fahad Maz.
Okay. Because, I mean, I've met Jimmy Henchman before. We've had conversations. I remember one time, because he was managing Game at the time, and we were doing an interview at his studio about this Game project that I'd worked on. Okay. And I remember as soon as I walked in, I looked and there was a big frame picture of Tupac with wearing a Henchman Entertainment t-shirt. And it was just sort of like, it was kind of creepy. It was creepy.
I really don't know what the conversation was with Pac before that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe Pac said some stuff to stretch to get back to Jimmy Henchman. You know what I mean? And maybe Pac said, man, I feel Jimmy Henchman is down with this, so tell him this and this. I know he's part of this.
Okay.
So Stretch came in and said, look, Jimmy Henchman said you don't want to go to war with him because you don't got your money right. You know what I mean? You don't, and wait till you get your money right, then you can go to war. So when Pac said that in that last song, Against All Odds, I remember what you told me, don't go to war unless I get my money right. That was a real scenario, you know what I mean? He was sending that message directly to him. You understand? For sure.
Right, and then of course, Pac also mentions Haitian Jack.
Haitian Jack, yes. That's another individual I ran into in Vegas.
Okay, so let's talk about both these situations.
Yeah.
So here you are, at one point in your life, ready to kill and die for Tupac.
Yeah.
You go and run into Jimmy Henchman, who's somehow tied in to allegedly the Tupac shooting.
Yes.
You know, and people have testified about this and so forth after the fact.
Of course, yes.
How does that conversation go?
Well, now that I ran into him in a mosque and I'm a Muslim, you know, my religion, see, for example, in the religion of Islam, I can defend myself, I can fight, I can stand up for myself. If someone come to attack me, I can do whatever it takes to defend myself and protect myself. But if that attacker runs away from me and I see him the next day, I cannot go up to him and attack him because now I'm the oppressor. So we can't get revenge in Islam. You understand?
Okay.
We cannot go, especially if it's stuff from, I look at it like it's ignorant stuff that we went through back in the day in the street life. So I cannot go and say this is an old beef. My brother got shot, for example, I'm giving an example, in the stomach. If I see the person that shot him before, I can't go and attack this individual, even though he shot my brother from the same mother and father. But my religion tell me I don't go back to this stuff, you know?
So your religion, if you had your parents' killers here in the same room right now, are they still alive, by the way?
Yeah, yes. I would forgive them.
You would forgive them.
And I protect the life. I protect the life of the person who murdered my mother and father.
You would protect them.
I protected his life. I saved his life. I had a friend of mine that I grew up in New Jersey who was sharing a cell with this individual, the guy who killed my mother and father. And when he called my brother and told my brother that I'm in a prison of a person that murdered your mother and father, and he admitted to this, what do you want me to do? My brother, alhamdulillah, is Muslim now, but my brother then wasn't Muslim. He was a street dude, known in Newark, New Jersey, known in Jersey. He was heavy into the streets. And my brother told me that the guy, a little friend of mine, you know, that we grew up with, is in prison with the same dude that killed our mother and father. And I told him to handle his business. And I was explaining to my brother, you have to leave that alone. You know, the guy that killed my mother and father, he's also an imam in prison. He's a Muslim now, you know. So I happen to know someone who was a CO in that same prison, and I called. I'm not no snitch, but I'm saving the life of an individual because as a Muslim, saving the life of an individual is there. You understand? I don't want the blood on my hand, you know? And this is the individual that murdered my parents. And I said, when you tell this individual, it was a Muslim CO in the same prison in New Jersey. I said, tell this individual that I'm doing this for the sake of my religion, not because of him. You know what I mean? I really don't know him personally. I don't care about him personally because my religion tells me to do this. So I'm telling you this was going to happen to him. They moved him out of the cell. My brother was angry, of course. You know what I mean?
So you had a chance to have somewhat of a hand in getting revenge on the guy who killed your parents.
Yes.
And you never had a relationship with him because you were too young.
I never had a relationship. He was locked up from there. Yeah, he's locked up for life. You know?
Okay. It's heavy stuff, man. It's very, very heavy
My
stuff.
life is like a movie, man, but it's real.
So now you're now face to face with Jimmy Henchman.
Yes.
What did that conversation go like?
So I went up to him and I was like, "You Jimmy Henchman, right?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, "What's up? I'm Napoleon from the Outlawz." And I'm like, "What are you doing here?" He's like, "Oh, I'm Muslim." And I was shocked. He was like, "I was Muslim for years." And I said, "Let me just ask you, I still wanted to get it off my chest. Like, what happened? You know what I mean? The word on the street is that, you had something to do with Pac." And he was denying it. He denied it in the mosque. He's like, "Look, man," he said, "I had nothing to do with that." And he said, when Pac was attacking me in music and saying everything, he said, the little bit of Islam, his exact words. He said, the little bit of taqwa in Islam mean like fear of God. He said, the little bit of taqwa that I do have prevented me from even feeding into that stuff. So I took it like, maybe he telling me he had nothing to do with it. I leave it alone. Even while he was in prison, we would sit in touch with him. I emailed the lady and she would send it to him. And I mentioned it again. Like, you know what I mean? I said, our religion, whatever happened in the past, it's a race. You understand? If we become Muslim and we repent to God, and I said, you know what I mean? I got to look at you like my brother now. And he still was denying it. Like I told you that before. I didn't have nothing to do with it. And then when I heard the cases against him, I was shocked. Not shocked because I already knew. You know what I mean? I was just trying to give him an opportunity to come clean and say, okay, I made mistakes. May Allah forgive me. May y'all forgive me. If Pac was around, I would have tried to get amends. You know what I mean? But he still was denying it, unfortunately. And then when I read the case, I was like, wow,
Because the case file tied him into that.
Yeah, I seen it, yeah. Yeah, I don't, of course I don't think nobody really, to be honest, just want to come out and say that, I was involved with the shooting. You know what I mean? He probably was like, I ain't gonna say it to you. He probably didn't know my mindset. You understand? He probably didn't know what I would have probably done back. So I don't think that he probably would have, I can't really, think about him just coming up and say, yeah, I did it. He probably didn't know what to expect,
So you run into Haitian Jack.
We ran into Haitian Jack years ago when I was still in the music industry. I was still in the game. We was all in Vegas, Big Psych, Outlawz, all of us. And Haitian Jack, I think he was with Mike Tyson, if I'm not mistaken. We seen him walking with Mike Tyson. And I think it was Edie, matter of fact, because Edie know him. I never seen Haitian Jack, never met him. Edie was like, that's Haitian Jack. And my brother, I had a few homies from New Jersey. My brother and them, like I said, they was wild street dudes, you know what I mean? So when I turned around, I really didn't see nobody anymore, just my brother and a few homies from Jersey. And I told my brother, I said, that's Haitian Jack. My brother said, I'm going up to him. So my brother went up to him, was like, what's going on, this and this. My family in Jersey, we always stayed with guns. They don't have nothing to do with rap. They were street cats, So if anything would have went down, it would have went down. So my brother went up to Haitian Jack. My brother's a little crazy. He like, this is my brother, he from the Outlawz. You got a problem with him? And Haitian Jack was like, oh, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? He was like, this is from the Outlawz. This is Napoleon. This is one of Pac homies. What's going on? And we started conversating with Haitian Jack. We like, what happened in New York City when Pac got shot? Word on the street that you had some involvement with it. And Haitian Jack was like, look, man, the people that shot Pac was people that love me. He said when Pac started talking, down on me, I'm loved in the streets. He said the people took it on their own. He said I never told them to go do it. It was just people that love me decided to take it in their own hands. He said, but it never came from me. You know what I mean? And we pretty much walked away from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and then Haitian Jack got deported.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, years later.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, he's not even in this country anymore.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's some heavy stuff right there.
It's some heavy stuff, bro.